Good evening. Today is Tuesday, November 1st, 2022. The time is 5 p.m. and the regular meeting of the following will come to order. The Victorville City Council and the same council also sitting as the Victorville Library Board of Trustees, Southern California Logistics Rail Authority, Southern California Logistics Airport Authority, successor agency to the Redevelopment Agency, the City as Housing Assets successor, Joint Powers Financing Authority, and the Victorville Water District. Madam Clerk, will you kindly call the roll?
Councilmember Becerra.
Present.
Councilmember Gomez.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Irving.
Present.
Mayor Jones.
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to introduction to the public comments. Before we do, Madam Clerk, are there any requests to speak?
No, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. All right, will you kindly set the timer for 30 seconds in the event that we have someone in our Zoom audience who's having technical difficulties? We certainly want to offer a little extra assistance if we can.
Madam Mayor, 30 seconds has lapsed and there are no speakers.
All right, thank you. Now we're going to move on to the declaration of closed session items. Mr. DePortnowski.
Thank you, Mayor Jones. We have 4 items this evening. They are all existing litigation pursuant to Government Code 54956.9D1, and the case names and numbers are not included on the agenda since doing so could potentially jeopardize settlement discussions. To the extent there is reportable action, we will report it either at the conclusion of the closed session or the commencement of the 6 o'clock regular session.
All right, thank you. Well, with that said, we're going to go ahead and recess to closed session, and we will resume open session at 6 p.m.
Oh, yes. Good yourself.
Busy season.
Good evening. Today is Tuesday, November 1, 2022. The time is 6 p.m. We are resuming the open session of our regular meeting, the following of which will now come to order. The Victorville City Council and the same council also sitting as the Victorville Library Board of Trustees, Southern California Logistics Rail Authority, Southern California Logistics Airport Authority, successor agency to the Redevelopment Agency, the City as Housing Assets successor, Joint Powers Financing Authority, and the Victorville Water District. Madam Clerk, will you kindly call the roll?
Councilmember Becerra. Councilmember Gomez.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Irving.
Present.
Mayor Jones.
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you. All right, Mr. DeBortnowski, the closed session announcements.
Thank you, Mayor Jones. We had 4 items this evening, all of which were existing litigation pursuant to Government Code 54956D1. The case names and case numbers are not on the agenda since to put them on there could jeopardize settlement negotiations. At this point, there is no reportable action with respect to any of those 4 items.
All right, thank you, Mr. DeBortnowski. At this time, we're going to move on the agenda to our invocation. This evening, that will be led by Pastor Dane Davis of Impact Christian Church. That will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by our Police Captain, John Wickham. Pastor and everyone, if you're able, please rise.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Please bow with me in prayer. Oh, Heavenly Father, we do count it a privilege to come before you, and the verse that comes to mind right now is, "Be still and know that I am God." Lord, I need to be still more often than I am. We all, Lord, tend to run around like chickens with our heads cut off so often, Lord, so busy doing so many things, squeezing so many different to-dos into a short amount of time. So, Lord, I just pray in this moment that we would just rest in the blessings that you've given us, the health you've given us, Lord, the abilities to lead and to be a part of this community together. And we may have different viewpoints and different perspectives at times, Lord, but I thank you for this team that we call our Victorville City Council. I pray that you'd be with them as they hear all that's presented tonight and make decisions. I pray that you would give them godly wisdom and insight, that you would give them peace and harmony in their decision making. And we pray, oh God, for this upcoming election, that you would give the voters of Victorville and throughout this community wisdom, oh God, as we select our leaders. We thank you, Lord, for all that you've given us. I believe your word when you say that all good gifts come from you. So we thank you tonight. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Captain.
Please face the flag and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you, Captain. All right, we're now going to move on to the presentation of the agenda and any revisions thereto. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There are no revisions to the agenda.
All right, thank you. And this evening's meeting will be adjourned in memorial to Richard Bo Bochicchio, who passed away Sunday evening, October 24th. He was honored last year by this council for his tremendous contributions to our community through his decades of service as a COP. He will be missed. All right, moving on to conflict of interest declarations. Any council members? Okay. All right, hearing seeing none, we're going to move on to the introduction to public comments. Before I do that, Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak?
I don't have any speaker cards and there are no hands raised on Zoom.
All right, can you please set the timer for 30 seconds?
Yes, we do have members in the public that would like to speak.
Oh, yes, please, sir. Yes. Yes, sir. Welcome to, oh, please go to the podium, sir, so that we can all hear you. Welcome to our meeting. And did you
Hello?
wish to
Okay.
speak to an agenda item or a non-agendized matter?
Non-agendized matter.
Yes, sir.
So thank you for having me. My name is David. Her name is Janet. I'm a real estate agent. I'm currently helping her with her property, the sale of her property, which is about 4 miles from here. She is going through something that I come here for mercy and help. She has a huge citation on that property, about $93,000 of a lien. And she lived in Hong Kong. She had family members living in that property where they were growing marijuana. She didn't know that was happening. When she came back to the United States, she found out she had a huge lien. So she was like, David, I need help. I want to sell it. I don't want to pay that money because I wasn't here during that time. What can I do? We talked to Joanne, I'm sorry. We talked to Joanne. She sent us, look, your best bet is go to the council and see if they can review your matter, and you just go from there. But that's our first step. We're just trying to get here and get some answers because, like I said, it's not fair for her that she has to pay that $93,000 when she was just trying to do the right thing and help a family member. So we're just here for help and mercy.
All right, David, thank you so much. And this council appreciates you coming before us. And Madam, we certainly appreciate you being here. I would suggest that your office be in contact again with Joan Smythe and see where it goes from there. But we do thank you so much for coming before us.
Okay, so as
So
far as
we're not able to speak about litigation in open session. That those things are always handled in executive session. So that's the best I can do for you at this point, sir.
just go back to Joan.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Join, tell me to come here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Later, she cannot make the decision.
Correct. And so, but now the council has heard you, and I can assure you that if the council wishes to do anything, we're going to be in contact with our attorney, Mr. DeBortnowski, and he'll communicate with Joan Smythe. I hope that helps you.
So any one of you can help me and talk to Joanne.
So, Mr. DeBortnowski, I'm going to let you take this at this point.
Certainly, I will talk with Ms. Smythe. I think it's Joan Smythe you were referring to. I will discuss the matter with her. Do you have a property address?
I do. It's 12496 Los Pinos, LOSPINOS Street, Victorville, California, 92392.
All right, I will discuss it with Ms. Smythe.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Madam, I apologize. Can I have your name again, please?
Janet Kwan.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So who should I go after?
I will talk with Ms. Smythe. You can give Ms. Smythe a call later this week if you like.
But she said that she cannot make decision. She want me to come here and talk to the councils. So who should I talk to? If you guys don't have time right now, we can talk later. Or we can schedule an appointment and we can talk about
Right,
it.
the city council
Cannot
can.
last forever.
The city council cannot discuss the litigation matters with you in an open session like this, and this is not on the agenda.
I know, let's schedule sometime, an appointment. Who should I talk to?
Ms. Smythe,
She's the one tell me to come here.
I will have a discussion with her, try and call her again.
Okay. Thank you very much.
No,
Again,
I don't want to just talking to her. I want some council help me.
The council cannot help you at this point. This is not on the agenda tonight.
Not right now, but we can make an appointment. We can talk about it, negotiate. Because I already tell Joanne the whole history.
Right.
The whole story. She says she cannot decision.
She will.
I am a victim. I am a victim.
I understand. Once I talk with Ms. Smythe, she will then discuss this with the council.
So whose counsel she's gonna talk to?
She's going to talk to the city council probably in closed session, depending on the.
Can I join the the talking?
No, those are closed sessions. They are executive sessions. The public is not invited to those.
So Anna, I need to go back to Joanne,
Correct, Joan Smythe.
but she's telling me come here again.
I suspect after I talk with her, she won't give you that recommendation.
So she says she cannot make the decision.
That
Can
is
you tell me who's gonna make the decision?
ultimately, if it's a litigation matter, it will come to the city council in closed session. They will make a decision.
So the councils make a decision.
Ultimately, in a closed session, they will probably make a decision one way or the other.
What? I don't understand. Can you repeat again?
It's a closed session. It's an executive session where the public is not invited to have discussion about litigation matters.
Who would that be?
Again, it'll be the attorney, myself, with the city council.
So city council is 1, 2, 3, right?
Four.
Four, and you and Joanne.
Correct.
6 of you will make decision, right?
The four council members ultimately will make the decision.
Not you.
Correct.
So I'll
So-
go after them.
So, madam, if I could just a moment, I can see that this is very understandably a very difficult situation. I want you to know that because you've come here tonight, your counsel is listening to you. We are now going to have, any one of us or all of us separately could have another conversation with our city attorney. He will be in contact with his employee, Ms. Smythe. I want you to know that this information may or may not be new to us, but I want you to know it's going to be considered. I hope that helps you.
So Joanne's gonna come back to me.
Yes, she will call you. I will ask her to give you a call.
Do you know how long it possibly takes?
Hopefully by the end of the week, before the end of the week.
This week.
Yes.
Okay. So if not solved, I will come back again your next meeting.
Okay.
I'm sorry I'm not good in English, but I'm not gonna give up.
Yes, ma'am.
I
Yes.
am the victim. Okay?
Understand.
I will not give up.
Your
I should
time is
not
up.
pay for the money at
Thank
all.
you. Yes, ma'am. We certainly do appreciate you and we do want your voice to be heard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk,
There are no additional speakers.
can you again set the Zoom timer with whatever time is remaining?
Madam Mayor, 30 seconds has lapsed and there are no speakers.
All right, thank you. With that said, the public comment period is now closed and the chair brings the item back to the council. We're going to move on to our first business in order this evening, which is the consent calendar, items number 1 through 5. A motion is in order for the council and the council acting on its various boards of directors to approve action on consent calendar items 1 through 5 in accordance with the recommendations presented on the agenda.
So moved. Madam Mayor, could I have a comment on?
Yes. Yeah, yes, of course. Are there any other requests? All right, with that
Just
said,
to comment on number 4.
yes. Okay,
It's just the stats for Public Works quarterly. Miss,
I'm sorry, ma'am. We've moved on the agenda. Thank you.
Mr. Metzler, congratulations to you and the crew. Mr. Matthews, tell everybody, good job.
Thank you, Ms. Becerra. Member Gomez.
Yeah, for the CalRecycle, I see that upcoming in a different written communication. It distinguishes by saying tire cleanup grant, and I just wanted to make sure that that's a different subtopic within the California recycling. Is that what it is? Just a different topic?
It's a different subject administered under the Cal Recycle Department, which is a state department.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you, Member Gomez. All right, with that said, now do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. We have a first and a second. Madam Clerk, the vote, please.
Councilmember Becerra.
Aye.
Councilmember Gomez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Irving. Mayor Jones.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. So the council and the council acting in its various capacities has adopted the recommendations set forth on the agenda as presented on the agenda. All right, we're now going to move on to our next business in order, which is written communications, beginning with item number 6. This is the Doris Davies Recreation Center Roof Restoration Project, change order number 1. Mr. Metzler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. This item involves the Doris Davies Recreation Center, a building that is actually at the Doris Davies Park, just right next to the public pool that we own and operate. And this is a project that we had previously awarded, effectively a re-roofing of that two-story building that is there. But certainly as we got on site with the contractor and started peeling back a lot of the roofing material, we actually were able to identify more work that needed to be done. So effectively, this item is coming back to you as a change order to that already approved contract to deal with the increased scope of work that's necessary to properly fix the roof of that facility. So with that, the author on this item is your building official, Mr. Joe Sleggers. He's available for any technical questions or comments you might have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Metzler. Madam Clerk, the recommendation, please.
That the Honorable City Council adopt resolution number 22-120, approving an additional appropriation of $32,749.30 for the Doris Davies Recreation Center Roof Restoration Project in the fiscal year 2022-2023 annual budget, and approve change order number 1 to the construction agreement with Four Seasons Roofing, Inc. for the Doris Davies Recreation Center Roof Restoration Project in the amount of $89,960.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, we're going to move on to technical questions for clarification as it relates directly to the staff report. Member Becerra.
I just have one question. Mr. Slavers, is this Pebble Beach still used for racquetball? Yeah, I'm showing my age.
Not currently. The floors are in pretty rough shape, actually, as a direct result of the leaks in the roof.
So whenever we fix it, is it gonna go back to a racquetball club or no, like a club?
We actually have some money set aside in the budget to do a feasibility study to look at the master plan and see what we can repurpose the building as.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
All right, thank you, Member Becerra. Member Gomez.
Yes. Mr. Collins, right? Kevin?
Mr. Collins is
the other-
previous building official. Mr. Sleggers is mine.
Okay, he's a little, okay, thank you for clarification. So I do have a question. Does the contractor hold current licenses as a roofing contractor? Do we know that?
He does, yes.
Yes, and is the contractor bonded?
Yes.
And what are the warranties used based on the manufacturer's materials that we're gonna be utilizing?
I don't know that off the top of my head, but I think the material that we use actually carries a 30-year warranty, the Weatherweld product that we use.
Warranty, okay. And maybe this is redundant, but the roofing is guaranteed, you said?
Well, guaranteed to a limit. I mean, obviously the warranty carries certain conditions with it where they will take care of a repair if it's outside of their scope.
Okay. And what is the time allotted for completion? Do we know that?
For completion by the contractor,
Yes.
I actually do not know that off the top of my head.
Okay. And I was looking at starting dates and probably completions, or maybe a lapse time of it'll take approximately a year or averages 6 months.
A roofing project like this typically will take no longer than, say, a couple of months.
Okay.
Obviously, we had a little bit of delay as a result of this. That's part of the reason why we got it on the agenda as quickly as we did. There's potentially even a little bit of weather coming early next week, so we want to get it done as soon as possible.
Okay. And you can answer if you'd like. I think it would be encouraging for me to understand that what I heard previously is what I heard. And will the contractor ensure that this is finished on time?
Aside from this slight delay, yes.
Okay. And will any subcontractors be hired for the project that we know of?
No, the project is being taken care of exclusively by the roofing contractor.
And specifically, what types of materials are we using for this rooftop? I know you said about 30 years, but what kind of?
Yeah, that's the warranty on it. It's basically a membrane roofing structure. It's what you see in the pictures is the result of a tear off. So they took all the existing roofing material off and are putting down a new membrane roof.
Okay. And my next question is, will the entire roof be replaced with new material, or is it only like the subsections, and is it going to be piecemealed? That wasn't clear to me in the reporting.
Entirely, bro. The entirely new roofing material, although the underlayment, the reason we're coming back to you today has to do with the decking material, which is basically the plywood underneath the roofing material. And the reason we're back here is because more of that was damaged and in worse shape than we thought prior to the tear off. So that won't be replaced in its entirety. Some sections will, but not from end to end on the building. Most of that will be replaced, but all of the roofing material will be replaced.
Okay. Do we know if this was part of the CIP project or was something emergency? It seems like it was more of something that emerged quickly and we had to get on top of that quickly.
No, this was budgeted as a CIP project in the budget. Certainly a part of it is an emergency because the condition was worse than we thought, but it was budgeted.
Okay. Are there multiple roofs or a single rooftop? I could imagine it's a single rooftop. I think it's 532 square feet. But once again, if it's repetitive, I don't remember this part. But you said it's being piecemealed. Is that what?
So the building was actually retrofitted, I guess would be the best way to put it. From the structure it was to a pool house with, you know, some of the amenities that it had, a snack shack, places to sign up. The racquetball courts were added as well. This all goes back to about 1980. So as far as the roof is considered, there are multiple roof planes, if that makes sense. It's not all one solid structure. There's different portions of it.
Okay, I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
No, I don't have any questions. I do want to say that I'm glad you clarified this is the pictures are the result of a tear off, because these pictures were alarming. So, but anyway, I don't have any questions. I understood the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. And the chair has no questions and invites a motion from the council.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve staff's recommendations.
Thank you. We have a first.
Second.
All right, we have a second by Member Gomez, first by Mayor Pro Tem Irving. Discussion on the pending motion, Mayor Pro Tem.
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Gomez.
Not at the moment.
Thank you, Member Becerra. Thank you. The chair has none. Discussion period's closed. Madam Clerk, the vote, please.
Councilmember Becerra. Aye. Councilmember Gomez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Irving.
Yes.
Mayor Jones.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. So the council's taken action in accordance with the recommendations set forth on the agenda. Moving on to item number 7, Cal Recycle SB 1383, Organic Waste Recycling Grant Payment Program. Mr. Metzler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. We had previously applied for on a non-competitive basis, but we still had to apply for a grant, and we were authorized to do that in 2020 for the organic waste recycling grant. We finally received the award of that this last September. And so with that, this item is being brought forward primarily to authorize the acceptance, create the revenue and expense appropriations associated with the grant amount. And it's intended that these monies will then be used to pay for things such as software, educational materials, and of the like to help us roll out our new organics waste program. So with that, the author on this item is Mr. Doug Matthews, Director of Public Works and Water. He's available for any questions or comments you might have.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Metzler. Madam Clerk, the recommendation.
That the Honorable City Council adopt resolution number 22-117 to authorize acceptance of the Cal Recycle SB 1383 Organic Waste Recycling Grant, authorize the city manager or his designee to process all documents required for program administration, ratify the associated expenditure plan, and approve a budget amendment for fiscal year 2022-2023 to appropriate $167,748 in both revenue and expenditures related to SB 1383 Organic Waste Recycling Grant as awarded by Cal Recycle.
All right. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving on to technical questions for clarification, again, specifically as it relates to the staff report and on point. All right. With that said, we're going to begin this time with Member Gomez.
Yes. Will the city be considering phasing to roll out this organic waste enforcement program?
The we are phasing the rollout of the organic waste program. In fact, we're in a pilot stage currently. And so there has been a small area in the community that's been chosen to be a part of that pilot. In fact, the smaller organic trash cans have been in place. We've actually swapped out the larger green barrels that were previously mixed waste. And the enforcement of that is actually developing as we speak. So yeah, we are moving forward on a phased approach.
Okay. And how does the 2 cubic yard or more of commercial solid waste, how will that be considered if there's a phasing consideration for the program? I mean, you have a pilot program, so maybe we have some ideas.
Okay, so just making sure that we're staying on a point because thank you, Member Gomez. This item is specifically to receive the grant and appropriate it in terms of revenues and expenditures. So these are really good questions. It might be more appropriate for the council member to bring this up as an agenda item request to get, maybe a little bit of a workshop on SB 1383. But as it relates to this agenda item, we're talking about the appropriation of monies.
Yeah, so the appropriation of monies considers how many cubic feet is being considered in that pilot program, if it is indeed functioning. So that's a fiscal decision that would be granted within this.
The chair disagrees. This is the acceptance of the grant and the ministerial part of appropriating the monies.
So for a council member to make decisions, the fiscal scope within what her question is, which is the 2 cubic yards or more, is the phasing of the program that I was asking if you guys had any clue. It was just a yes or no.
Okay, we're going to answer this with a yes or no, and then we're going to move on and stay on point.
I don't know the answer to that, Mr. Matthews. Do you?
I lost where you're referring to the two cubic yards.
Okay, no worries.
The question, yeah, I didn't understand.
No worries. It is in the state cycle of what we're rolling out, but I understand. Will the city be the enforcement agencies in areas of influence, and will this particular item flow that way in that direction? Is there coverage? Fiscal coverage.
So again, Member Gomez, this is about the grant. It would be great if you would like to request an item at the right time for an agenda item to have a workshop.
Yes, the chair is being very prejudiced and biased towards my question.
Member Gomez will not attack a council member.
It is within the
Madam
scope,
Clerk,
which
will you
is
kindly
the
mute the member's
policy
mic?
that is allowing you to.
Thank you. The chair is happy to answer any questions from the council member outside as it relates to the policy manual. All right, moving on. Since the member doesn't wish to yield to the chair's directives, Mayor Pro Tem, any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
Thank you. Member Becerra?
Yes, I do. Mr. Metzler, this organic waste program, organic is another word for food, correct? Okay.
Member Gomez is not facilitating this meeting. Member Becerra will have one moment. Member Becerra will have a little bit of latitude as Member Gomez did. Mr. Metzler.
Food waste is considered organic waste.
Food, okay. And this was brought through the state. This isn't from the council, correct?
The imposition of this requirement was by the state. It was SB 1383. They approved the law, imposed it upon cities like us. We did not have a choice in the matter to comply.
And that's where this grant came from, the state.
This is a state-funded grant, and
That's Member Gomez. Will you kindly mute the other mic down the way, please? Thank you. Member Gomez is not facilitating this meeting and will bring herself to order. Mr. Metzler, my apologies. Did you answer the question? Moving on, Mr. Metzler, my apologies.
I think my point was made.
Gotcha. Thank you, Member Becerra. All right, the chair has no questions for clarification. Invites a motion from the council.
Staff's recommendation.
Second.
Thank you. We have a first and a second. Questions on the pending motion. Madam Clerk, will you kindly unmute the member's mic? Comments, Member Becerra?
No.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you, Member Gomez on the pending motion.
Absolutely. Your chair, as a chair, you're being very prejudiced.
Member Gomez
It's
is
not
going to
allowed
speak
to do that.
the motion pending.
I get it. People are
You
going
have
to
not
vote for you or not going to vote for you. I get it. It's your election season. Totally understand.
Mike, moving on. Chair has no discussion on the pending motion. Closes the discussion period. Madam Clerk, the vote, please.
Councilmember Becerra. Councilmember Gomez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Irving,
Yes.
Mayor Jones.
Aye. Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, thank you. So the council's taken action in accordance with the recommendations set forth on the agenda. Moving on to item number 8, this is the inclusion of part-time employees in the sick leave yearly payoff program. Mr. Metzler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. Annually, as part of the budget process, we do adopt a benefits resolution that details all of the various compensation and benefit programs available to city employees. With that, in this particular year, there was an oversight just recently identified by staff relative to the payoff program that we've instituted now a couple years ago relative to the payoff of those that have accumulated sick leave balances in an amount greater than a certain threshold. And I believe the threshold is 144 hours for full timers and 72 hours for part timers. The omission, the accidental omission included in this year's table of org did not include part timers as being eligible, and that wasn't the intent. Certainly, as we had approved it in the previous year for part timers as them being eligible for the cash out if they so choose. So this corrects that mistake and allows us to include them as a part of that program when we administer it, and likely will administer it probably in May or June of next year is when we actually do the payoff for sick leave. So this just helps correct our records so that we're free to be able to administer at the right time. With that, the author on this item is your Human Resources Officer, Ms. Josie Trevino. She's here in the audience for any questions or comments you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Metzler. All right, with that said, Madam Clerk, the recommendation, please.
That the Honorable City Council adopt resolution number 22-119 to reestablish part-time employees to participate in the sick leave yearly payoff program.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, technical questions for clarification as it relates to the staff report. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I just have one quick question. As I read the recommendations, I don't know, for some reason I was led to believe if we were going to reestablish part-time employees to participate in the sick leave yearly payoff program, I assumed that perhaps somehow or another we had suspended the program for the non-represented part-time employees, but that's not the case. We're actually rectifying an omission here in this resolution. Have they ever participated in the program?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor,
I'm
Council.
sorry. Good evening.
Yes, they have participated. And in fact, the council approved this program for part-time employees as well as full-time employees in the fiscal year 2021.
They participated in it.
Yes.
Okay.
So it was by mistake that they were omitted during this fiscal
Just
year.
an
So
oversight.
this is a correction.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You bet. Thank you. All right, Member Becerra. Thank you, Member Gomez.
Yes, Mrs. Trevino, Josie, you said it was a mistake.
Yes.
If it was a mistake, did we rectify anyone who was on a pay leave and perhaps didn't get advantage or take advantage of some of these hours?
No, this is just for the buyback program. So if on a yearly basis, we, as employees, we accrue sick leave. This program will allow employees to buy or to sell some of that time back to the city. So it's basically a payment, and there were no mistakes in the accruals of the sick leave. The error was to exclude part-timers from the program to purchase the sick leave.
Okay, so when that was done, did we have any members affected? Or did
No, in fact, the program normally is going to be processed in December. So we noticed the payroll was getting ready to establish the program, and they noticed that part-timers were not part of the program in the language of the resolution, so they brought it to our attention. So this is to correct that.
Oh, okay.
So no, nobody was impacted.
Do we have qualifications?
They do need to meet a minimum of 72 hours for part-time employees and 144 hours for full-time employees in order to qualify.
So is there like a guarantee that we're gonna have our part-timers meeting that 72-hour
No, it just depends whether, on their usage for the year. So employees who haven't used their sick leave, they'll probably exceed that amount and they'll have an opportunity to purchase those hours.
And then do we know what the yearly cost of this program would be?
It was included in the fiscal year. I don't have the exact amount. It just depends, how many hours are basically.
So we don't have like a rubric or something that we can give an approximation or
It's an option for the employees. Employees may choose not to participate at all, and it's not going to cost the city anything. So it all depends.
But it would still accrue, right, a cost to the city for those members that decide?
We budget and we have budgeted an amount as an actual cost, projecting based upon how many people likely could cash those out. It's very unlikely that everybody will cash out. And so those that don't will continue to accrue, and that accrual will continue to remain as a liability to the city as an amount to be paid to the employee at a point in time, whether they're sick or whether they want to cash out in a future year.
And do we know if this program could be susceptible to any type of abuse?
No, we have specific rules in order for them to meet the threshold.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you, Member Gomez. The chair has no questions and invites a motion from the council.
Motion to approve staff's recommendation.
Second.
Thank you. We have a first and a second. Now we're going to take discussion on the pending motion, beginning with the maker, Member Becerra.
No discussion?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Member Gomez.
Yes, there was absolutely a couple of questions that left me a little doubtful. I mean, I'm not sure about the program. I wasn't in intricacies for the staff members, but I had members in the audience that did have questions. So hopefully, the clarity that was sustained here is clear enough for our members that had questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gomez. I'm unaware that any member of our audience here had any questions. All right, with that said, the chair has no discussion on the pending motion and closes the discussion period. Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember Becerra. Councilmember Gomez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Irving.
Yes.
Mayor Jones.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, thank you. So the council has taken action in accordance with the recommendations set forth on the agenda. Moving on to item number 9, this is the General Services Provider Agreement for a Library Kiosk. Mr. Metzler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. Really in an attempt to try to extend library services to the southwest part of our community, this item that's being brought to you is intended to have furnished and delivered and installed a library kiosk at the Sunset Ridge Park, and with that it'll actually have a protective shade structure or canopy type structure over the top of that. It'll actually be located on the north side of the actual community room at Sunset Ridge Park. So with that, this item is to authorize the award of the contract for that work. The author on this item is your Deputy City Manager, Ms. Janelle Davidson. She's available via Zoom if you have any questions or comments.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Metzler. All right, Madam Clerk, the recommendation, please.
That the Honorable City Council approve the General Services Provider Agreement with Envisionware, Inc. in the amount of $221,585.41 to furnish, deliver, install, and maintain a remote library kiosk and canopy at Sunset Ridge Park.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. We're moving on to technical questions for clarification as it relates to the staff report. We're going to begin this time with Member Becerra.
Thank you. Mr. Metzler, I understand it's a kiosk. Is there hours that it'll be operational or it's 24 hours?
My understanding is that it's accessible 24 hours where you can check out or actually return books, but I'll stand corrected if Janelle Davidson finds something wrong in what I said.
Thank you, Mr. Metzler. You're correct. It will be available 24 hours a day.
Thank you. No further questions. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Member Gomez.
Yeah, that I appreciate that. Staff usually makes sure that we know it's page 179, and I want to make sure she knew it was on page 179 of the report as well, as I'm always reminded by staff very kindly. I do have a question. I was looking at, I think it's RTD or something like that, and it said that Miss Janelle would have the authority to freely look over for the records. I just wanted some clarification for the term free. I don't know those are going to be an associated cost, and as a member for the records, she just needed to have free access for that portion of taking data.
Was that a comment or a question? I'm sorry.
No, that's a question.
Can you restate the question?
Yes, absolutely. Within the contract, because there's these recitals and all these indemnification, I saw specifically Mrs. Janelle's name appear, and then it's had the word free. But I was thinking maybe it's because as the assessor of someone coming in with a record, she probably needed to have free access, which means it's not cost effective to the public in terms of, it's not free for the public, but it's free for her because she has to probably do some kind of administrative processes. I'm trying to understand why the word free would come up with her name.
I'm still not understanding what you're saying. Where do you see the word?
Yeah, it's under records and it has Janelle Davidson and it shows that she would be part of the records and it has the word free. So which questions as an employee, maybe she has free access, but everybody else has to pay. And that's my question.
No, it's free access to the public if that's what you're asking.
Yes. And my next question is, how do we consider this area to be that kiosk there versus any part of the city of Victorville? How did that come about? Do we know?
Ms. Davidson, do you want to explain how we chose Sunset Ridge Park?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Metzler. The library master plan actually spoke specifically to the Mall of Victor Valley as a potential location. So staff looked for city-owned, city-controlled locations on the west side of the freeway that may be a little bit easier to locate a kiosk such as this. So we looked at Sunset Ridge Park. We also wanted to find a way to add another amenity to an existing park location. And since we have a small community center at Sunset Ridge Park, it seemed like a natural draw for additional public to come to that park.
Thank you for that explanation. We also have one of the park communities over on this area with also similar aspects, but we didn't pick Verde where we have a hospital in the community. Was that even a consideration? This is first time me hearing the justification, so I just probably thought, was that in the play?
I'm sorry, what was the location?
Yeah, it's Verde, where you have Verde Park, and on top you have the hospital, and there's that area where you have a park. You also have the activity center. So
What time is that?
So, Ms. Davidson, do you know where she was going with that?
I think she was referring to locations on the side of the freeway where the existing library is located. So we were actually looking for a location west of the freeway. So those sites were not considered.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mayor Protem.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask anyway. Are we looking to install additional library kiosks throughout other locations in the city?
This is the only kiosk project that we have on our capital project list currently. However, I would look at it as a pilot project of sorts so that we can see how it performs and if it's heavily utilized by our community.
I like that response. I'm really excited about the installation of this library kiosk. I took the liberty of taking a long drive over to Fresno to check out the cities. They have them as well. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mayor Protem. And I just have a quick question. So since this is going to function 24 hours a day, is there going to be extra lighting near the kiosk? I mean, I'm thinking about the security of our families.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't recall reading anything about lighting on the unit itself, but we can certainly look at the location of the structure and should additional lighting be needed because of the configuration, that's something that we can add as part of our park lighting project.
All right, thank you very much. All right, the chair has no further questions and invites a motion from the council.
Okay. Yes, Madam Mayor, I move that we approve staff's recommendation for this.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have a first from Mayor Pro Tem and a second from Member Becerra. Discussion on the pending motion, beginning with Mayor Pro Tem.
No, I'm just really excited about this installation. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Becerra.
No questions. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Member Gomez.
Yes, absolutely. I heard we're getting $9 million or so, and it's gonna go towards the Green Tree to post the new library. Hopefully we get more on the end where we have members who definitely do need the access and the resources, and hopefully this is one of those that have, like you said, a pilot program and it gets utilized to, there's a school nearby, so hopefully we get more of that usage there as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gomez. The chair has no comments on the pending motion. Closes the discussion period. Madam Clerk, the vote, please.
Councilmember Becerra.
Aye.
Councilmember Gomez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Irving.
Yes.
Mayor Jones.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. So the council has adopted staff's recommendation as set forth on the agenda. Moving on to item number 10. This is the Consultant Professional Services Provider Agreement with Community Works Design Group. Mr. Metzler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. We are very fortunate as a city to have been awarded $3.3 million for park improvements at Evadale Park. And the funding for this money that was awarded to the city was from the Prop 68 statewide park development program, which was a subset of Prop 68, which was voted by California voters in 2018. So with this money, we're proceeding, and this item before you actually helps initiate the design work associated with features that will be built at Evadale Park. Some of those features include a walking loop, a new parking lot, all-inclusive playground, improved lighting, and a splash pad. So with this, it's our first step in the process before actually going to construction and opening the park with new amenities. So with that, the author on this item, again, is your Deputy City Manager, Ms. Janelle Davidson. She is available for any questions or comments you have.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Metzler. Madam Clerk, the recommendation.
That the Honorable City Council approve the Consultant Professional Services Provider Agreement with Community Works Design Group in the amount of $219,572.50 for the landscape and civil design work for the Evadale Park renovation project.
All right. Thank you, Madam Clerk. We're now going to move on to technical questions for clarification as it relates to the staff report, keeping a particular mind on the intent of this item, which is to award the services provider agreement, so or approve that. So with that said, we're going to start with Mayor Pro Tem Irving.
I don't have any questions. This was a well put together, well written staff report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Member Becerra.
Gonna ditto.
Thank you. Member Gomez.
Yes, so I have a question in regards to, I'm sorry, were you speaking to me? You said of course you do.
My apologies, Member Gomez. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, what is so I see something about phase one fiscal there's a fiscal figure there within it. I'm thinking maybe it's just part of the context, but we're really just approving the Prop 68. Is that in line with the reporting?
No, you're actually just approving in this particular item the expenditure associated with the professional services agreement, which is providing for the design work associated with the park improvements.
Okay, so where we see the fiscal impact and it has $3.3 million, that's in context with just the reporting, but like you said, we're approving a different figure for a different issue.
The figure that you're approving is at $219,572.50. That $3.3 million number is a reference to the actual project budget that this council approved.
Okay, thank you. And then I need clarification because on the conceptual design, it states that we're going to develop 2 park and amenity site plans for items including landscaping, pathways, splash pad, all-inclusive playground, walk pads, sports field lighting, park lighting, ball field lighting, renovation, new parking lot, dog park, 2 renovated parking lots, and shade structures with the rough cost estimates. And the reason I'm seeking clarification for this because it's my perception that this particular area we're also having the homeless shelter. Is that correct? That's why I'm seeking clarification.
I'm sorry, the Wellness Center is across the street from Evadale Park.
Okay, so with the development of these two park entities, how far will they be from the actual wellness center? Is it like a block you said?
No, literally across the street.
Okay, so we're going to have these items that I read off to you. So these items or these things that we're going to have is for everyone to associate, or is just for the wellness part?
This park is a public park, so it'd be open to the public.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you, Member Gomez, and just going to echo the sentiments of my colleagues on that beautiful report. All right, with that said, the chair invites a motion from the council.
Motion to approve staff's recommendation.
Second.
Thank you. We have a first and a second. Moving on to discussion on the pending motion. Member Becerra.
Questions, thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
Ma'am.
Thank you, Member Gomez.
Yes, I don't know how to feel about this project. I didn't know it was so close. I don't understand the amplification, so I'm just gonna say that if we do have the shelter, maybe it's just me not being reminded, but if we do have members of society who are PC 290ers and we're gonna have children there, I would be a little concerned, but I mean, this is just me coming from a different perspective. I mean, although that wasn't spoken today, right here. So I am going to be confident that we've had that discussion and it just kind of probably passed my intake at the moment. So that was just what I wanted to lay out there. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Member Gomez. All right, and the chair has no discussion on the pending motion and closes the discussion period. Madam Clerk, the vote, please.
Councilmember Becerra. Councilmember Gomez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Irving.
Yes.
Mayor Jones.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
So thank you very much. The council has approved staff's recommendation as presented on the agenda. We're now going to move on to our final items on the agenda, beginning with item number 11. This is city manager reports. Mr. Metzler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. We do have a few items coming up and then a few projects that I think you and the public would like to hear about. But first, on the recreation side of the house, or at least run through the recreation side of the house, celebrating Veterans Day, we do conduct our annual Veterans Day Freedom Run parade and ceremony. That's actually going to be Friday, November 11th, from the hours of 8:45 to 10:30 in the morning. That'll be right at the intersection, as usual, of 7th Avenue and Forest Avenue. So that event is coming up, and looking forward to you and the public being there in attendance. We also have the Public Works environmental program Shred Fest. That'll be conducted on Saturday, November 5th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. That'll be at the Victor Valley MRF. There's no cost for those services, and you'll be offered or provided with the opportunity to shred up to 4 boxes of documents, free recycling, and of appliance, electronics, and mattresses. So that'll be, again, November 5th for Shred Fest. On the engineering side, big project in Old Town. We do have the Old Town water main replacement project starting next week. The construction will start in the streets intersecting with E Street, and then later water mains in the streets and other areas of Old Town will be replaced. We also have a water line replacement project, a big water line replacement project at SCLA along the Flight Line. That's to start next week as well. And both of those projects are expected to be complete in the spring of 2023. And then on the building side, a couple of projects, Avid Hotel, new 4-story hotel. The framing for that should begin the week of November 7th. And then Dollar Tree southeast of Village Drive, north of Mojave. That's a steel building that's currently under construction. So with that, that's all I have at this time, Madam Mayor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Metzler. Item number 12, this is discussion and possible action regarding upcoming agenda items. Member Gomez.
Yes. So recently I found out that all cities have sister cities. And I know the city of Victorville has a sister city as well. And I don't think we've had much contact to see who our sister city is so that we can help them with anything that we are capable of as a municipality. I know Ontario does very frequently. And I figured the city of Victorville should be in line somehow helping its sister city. So I would like to agendize that to at least bring knowledge of this council that there is a sister city and how are we approaching to meet needs as other cities do. And I would like that for action, possible action to be here as an item of discussion no later than 60 days from today's date. I'm sorry, we'll just extend it because the holidays may be in February. In February 2023. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a first. Is there a second? No second. The motion dies. Member Gomez?
That was it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Member Pro Tem.
I have nothing.
Thank you. Member Becerra?
Thank you.
Thank you, and the chair has none. Moving on to item number 13. This is reports from council members. Member Becerra.
Just to you and your staff, Mr. Metzler, of your trunk or treat or your drive-through trunk or treat. I had the opportunity to be there with the staff and it was a good time had. Thank you very much to you and your staff. Very job well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Member Becerra. Member Gomez.
Yes, my reports, it's basically, I know it's the same. Staff already knows it. They could probably reiterate it, but my main thing is for members who come in from the public, even if it's just one and they didn't hear that from me, or if it's members from Zoom, to have the honor and the privilege that I am your serving council member. I always give out my private number, which is not private. It's for everyone to consume and to use me as a resource. I do sit here and I do a lot of door knocking and I meet people on the streets because it's so important for these members of our community to understand that elected officials have a duty to serve not just the city and the state under oath or even federally, but a bigger duty is to represent individuals. And so as I do that on my everyday walks wherever I'm going, many people have assured me that they need more membership, that really they get to see our faces a little bit more often than what we probably would like. So a lot of door knocking, a lot of letter writing campaign, a lot of events to go to, and it's a fluidity of things that occur. I'm not just in committees making decisions because this is my committee that I make decisions for the public, but unlike everybody else, I think I'm one that is more hands-on and grassroots based, and definitely like a retired person. I have so much ample time and I dedicate it to the general public. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gomez. Member Tim.
Yes, being the daughter of Air Force veterans, if I don't get a chance to say thank you for your service to every veteran, I want to say it publicly now. Thank you for your service, and I hope you all have a very nice, happy Veterans Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, and I'm sure that the rest of the council echoes that sentiment, most certainly. All right, so number of meetings and events over the course of the past 2 weeks, starting with VVWRA. Rather exciting is that the board has approved taking our next steps toward approving a pilot program with Energia for the carbon capture to fuel, and that is the hydroponic growing of high biomass crops for, anaerobic digestion to produce renewable gas, natural gas. So this is in addition to the already good work in that partnership last year to convert food waste and sewage into renewable natural gas. So that's great. And then also preliminarily, steps are being taken relative to beginning discussions for a Mojave Basin One Water concept that would be a collaborative of many different agencies for the purpose of protecting water quality, assuring water supplies for future growth, and equitably delivering one water across the basin for beneficial use. And then we had the St. Joan of Arc 100th celebration. Liz Becerra, you were there for that event, as well as the mayor of one of our sister cities in the region, Mayor Carrie Leon. Also attended a number of ribbon cuttings. We had the grand reopening of Excelsior Charter School in North Victorville. We also had the 100th anniversary celebration for 6th Street Prep. That was quite amazing. And it was so good to see teachers from decades ago show up to that event. It was lovely. And then we also had the rededication planting of the new tree at Mojave Narrows Regional Park in remembrance of those who have lost their lives to domestic violence and those who have survived survive that, and that was put on by A Better Way. Other than that, that concludes our business for this evening. And as a matter of housekeeping, all council members, staff, and audience members will kindly vacate council chambers in City Hall within 10 minutes. So that's 7:08 p.m. so that these facilities may be cleaned and secured for the evening. Members of the public are not allowed behind the dais. This meeting is adjourned.